Willfully guided horsemanship, and I'm glad you guys could all come today. You guys enjoying yourselves? Learned a lot, watching Steve and Craig and everybody. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to talk a little bit about my program and myself and how I came to this program that we're presenting now. And I really want you, if you have any questions or want to know more or want me to expand on something, I'd be happy to do that. Just kind of shout it out or raise your hand. And we'll talk for about an hour here. So I was born in Anchor Point, Alaska, and grew up with horses. You probably saw the front of the Horse Source magazine. That's my 36-year-old mare that I've had since I was 6 months old. First horse I ever sat on. We still have her. Her name's Bailey. My parents here, my mother Mary and my dad, wherever he is, Emmett, were responsible for that. We grew up kind of hunting and packing in Alaska. I did 4-H and was a rodeo queen. Maybe don't tell anybody that, but I participated in a lot of horse events and then was an athlete, student athlete. I went to college in California at Cal Poly State University and studied animal science with a minor in ag business. While I was there, I took some of the colt starting classes and the equine reproduction classes, and I was fortunate enough to get selected to be on the Quarter Horse Project. And on the Quarter Horse Project, we took 2-year-olds and started them and sold them at Snap-a-Lip maturity sale. And I had a 2-year-old, and we rode with Teddy Robinson and Sandy Collier, if you guys are familiar with any of the really top cow horse trainers, Ron Rawls. And so I took my 2-year-old and we went and went through the sale at Reno, and that was the year that Smart Zanolina won the futurity, and I watched it for one season there and was pretty hooked. And so we bought Fancy, our first futurity horse, and instead of getting a job or doing anything productive after I graduated, we proceeded to try to finish our first futurity horse. So I showed her in 2000 at Reno, and I, with my parents, started building a breeding and training program focused around cow horses and reiners and cutters, and showed 3-year-old futurity horses for about 10 years after that. Do you guys know what a futurity horse is? No? You know what cow horse is? Yeah. So in working cow horse events, the first opportunity to show them is as a 3-year-old at the Snap-a-Lip maturity, and it's herd work, rein work, and fence work. So it's a 3-event competition on a 3-year-old that happens at the end of September. So it's kind of all-encompassing of your life. It's like a crash course for 2 years on, you know, start your 2-year-old, take them through, work cattle, you know, try to get it all together in 2 years to go and show them, and it's a really exciting event and definitely got me hooked. So for about 10 years I did that, and we collected a lot of horses. That's what happened. So we had a bunch of brood mares, and we bought our first stud, Q-Bars Laddie, if you see over my booth. He's the roan stud and bred for a few years to some really good mares, and then took the mares that I was showing in futurity and showed them as horse show horses and stuff, and then kept them and started a breeding program. In I guess 2001 it must have been, we bought our stud cow cutting kernel at the futurity sale there and started training him and showed him as a futurity horse, and then have bred him to a lot of the mares that we have. Throughout that time I was competing as a non-professional, and what that means is that I didn't receive any remuneration for training or lessons or anything. We just rode all our own horses, which was probably to the tune of about 15 horses a day, and we owned close to 60 horses at one point. And so I was riding and training my own horses, but I wasn't a horse trainer. I wasn't coaching people or doing anything like that. I was just kind of immersed in training my own horses. And about 4.5 years ago, I dropped my non-professional status and started training outside clients, outside horses, and started more with my lesson program and my lease horse program and that kind of thing. So what we have now is this program called Willfully Guided Horsemanship. Have you guys heard the term willfully guided before, or willingly guided? Do you know where it comes from? Raise your hand if you know where it comes from. Not you, Dad. This is why your parents can't be in the audience. They're like, we know. Okay, so willfully guided, it was willfully guided for a long time in reining a cow horse. They've kind of changed it to willingly guided. It's the concept that when you're watching a horse go around in a reining pattern, that they're going through the maneuvers with a willing manner, that they're obviously being guided by the rider, they're easy, they're comfortable with what they're doing. So that's one of the things when you're kind of, like if you're watching a horse go around pinned ears, swishy-tailed, you know, they don't look like they're liking what they're doing. It's kind of a negative impact. So the idea with willfully guided for me was that my focus is training riders to train their own horses. So I have a little bit different program than most cow horse or reining trainers have because my clients ride their horses every day. So I assist them in riding their own horses. And I'm not going to say I never get on a horse or never help them out with that, but for the most part I feel that the rider needs to know what they're doing. So I developed this program, and the idea in my head is that I want the rider to be willfully guiding the horse, if that makes sense. So it's not so much that I'm talking about the horse when I say willfully, I'm talking about the rider. I want them to understand what they're doing and have clear intent of what they're asking their horse to do. And that takes a long time. These are very complex maneuvers, right, for cow horse and reining and all that stuff. And so then from that kind of branched into this program with expos and some clinics and things. And, you know, I started thinking, how do I train my horses? What do I really believe in, you know? I like to keep things very simple, and you'll hear a lot of this in the kind of natural horsemanship programs or things that have a lot of groundwork involved. But you don't see a lot of talk about how you take those things that you learn on the ground and you learn with working and starting your horses and then apply it to complex maneuvers like spins and slides and stops and fence work and all that stuff, right? So do you think that those are probably the same principles, or could be, even with a complex maneuver? I really do believe it is, because that's how in my head when I'm training my horses, it's very clear and concise to me that I'm just going to use the same pressure, the same principles of pressure and release, just like I would if I'm asking my horse to, you know, send them around somewhere or halt or lead or anything like that. I'm going to use those same principles when I'm spinning my horse or doing anything, no matter how complex my maneuver is. I'm still going to treat it the same way. Does that make sense? So what I'm hoping to do is be able to come to some people who are even trail riding, doing different things with their horses, and help them build a program in a way that it's growable, that they can take their horses and work with them and still be able to grow with kind of an unlimited potential. As far as the horse would be able to go, the rider would be able to go and take them too. Does that make sense? So in this, I started participating with the Ranch Sorting National Championships. So I show and train cow horses, which is a very specific type of, it's the National Rein Cow Horse Association that we show and compete with. There's National Reining Horse Association, National Cutting Horse Association, and then AQHA, all which do these same kind of events. In kind of finding an organization that I could help encourage all people to come in and improve their horsemanship and still be able to work with cattle, I became aligned with the Ranch Sorting National Championships. Does everybody know what ranch sorting is? We had a clinic on Thursday here. What I really enjoy about that is that it's not specific to an expensive horse, it's not specific to an expensive training program. The entry fees aren't as large as they are for things like cow horse, but it still gives people the opportunity to go out, improve their horsemanship on cattle, and have fun while they're doing it. I mean, it was great. We had 30 people in the clinic, right, Tara? It was a good time. Yeah, and had a competition later. So I really enjoy that. The other things that we offer kind of on a regular basis is we work buffalo a lot. You guys ever work buffalo? Anybody? Yeah. Like it? It's pretty fun. You guys ever work buffalo? Kim? Kim's like, no. So we use, do you guys know that you can use buffalo just like you use cattle to train your horses? Seen that? It's pretty cool. So we do have like Buffalo Fun Days. We have people come out and work buffalo at our place. The other thing I do a lot of is when I came into this program, we took our, instead of continuing to breed a lot of our mares, we had quite a few offspring already that we bred to our cow-cut and kernel stud. And, you know, when the economy kind of started to struggle and people weren't buying as many babies and that wasn't quite as lucrative, we were able to bring our brood mares back and use them as lesson horses. So we have a really strong lesson program and lease horse program. And one of the reasons that I think that's important is it's really hard to teach your horse yourself what you want them to do if you're not able to really be able to feel what your horse is supposed to be doing, right? So imagine if you're going to try to teach your horse to spin or teach your horse to slide and stop or be supple or be soft. You know, those are things that are hard to accomplish yourself or know when you're supposed to give your horse release when you haven't ever felt that before, right? How many of you guys have ridden reining or cow horses? Raise your hand. How many of you want to?